Hello, Revere, and welcome to our Revere Veterans and Community Show. Today we have two great guests. One is right here from the First Baptist Church at 209 B Street, Revere, Reverend Liz Killeen. Welcome.
Thank you, Morris. Thank you for having us.
It's a pleasure and an honor. And Edna Diaz from the Fair Food Program. Welcome, Edna.
Thank you very much. I'm glad I'm here.
We're both glad you're here. Before we start, before I get in, I want you, Reverend or Pastor, to tell us how you first got started with what you're doing.
With the Fair Foods Program?
Yep.
It must have been around 8 years ago or so. Someone came to us with the idea of having a volunteer go into Dorchester, where there's a big produce outlet, and picking up foods, fruits, produce, breads, vegetables, bringing them to the church, and then scheduling twice a month a day when people could come and for $2 a person get as much of this as they could take home. And at first it was like 2 bags each person, but some weeks we do this the second and fourth Saturday of every month.
Of every month?
Every month, the second and fourth Saturday. And we have a schedule. Edna has the schedule in her hands with all the dates that we can hand out to people so that when they come they'll know when we're doing it again. But so when you have a volunteer that goes into Dorchester, brings back a van filled with produce and vegetables, and then we put it all out on the table and people can come and fill up their bags. And with the first we start with 2 bags, and then if there's lots of food left over, they can come back and get more food. But
right.
We've been doing this now every single month for over 8 years.
Right. Are there any requirements like income or anything like that?
None. None whatsoever.
So the richest and the poorest can come in?
Absolutely.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
And it seems that lately there are just more and more people that just come and need the food, and they're so grateful. And that's a beautiful thing, when they're so grateful to get the
right.
food.
And you, Edna, Miss Diaz, you were the Fair Food Program. Tell us something about that.
Oh, yes.
Excuse me.
Okay.
You are a volunteer from the Fair Food, right?
Yes, I am.
Go right ahead.
Yes, and I'm happy and I'm glad to be here. And I want everybody to know that this kind of fair food is for everybody. Whatever person you are, everybody's welcome. They will just come. We have actually the dates so they could come on the distribution.
Right, but I was going to say the second is the second and fourth Saturday.
Mm-hmm.
And that's for every month, so it doesn't make any difference about the days, just the months, the month, second and fourth Saturday. And what is the time, by the way?
We have the volunteers start arriving around 10:30 to get the food set up.
Yes.
And then when all the food comes, the volunteers go out, bring the food in around 11:30. Now we try to get started distributing the food by at least 12 noon.
Right. And if a person wants to become a volunteer, how would he contact you?
They would contact me.
How would they do that? Email or phone call?
Yeah, they can call Pastor Liz at this number. We have the number to call. Yes, the number they can call to contact Pastor Liz is 378-5071. For further information, they can call Pastor Liz at any time.
And Morris, usually people volunteer once they, like you did. But by the way, what was your experience when you joined us a couple weeks ago?
I enjoyed it. I have to tell you, I came in there, I went downstairs and I saw a whole load of people. And I thought there were people coming to collect the food, but they weren't. They were there to volunteer to help bring the food in. And when I looked outside the door when the food arrived, I couldn't see the street because it was just loaded with people. So we got some great people in Revere.
Yes, we do. Well, that's usually how a volunteer volunteers. They come once and they see what's going on and they, oh, I want to help with this. And so they'll come and talk to me about volunteering, and then they'll come and become a volunteer.
Right, but I have to say one thing. I did take home a bag of grapes when I was there. They were delicious. And I got to tell you, my wife thought I went to a supermarket to buy them. No, that's what she said. Should spend all that money. I says, when I told her what went on, She was surprised.
Oh.
I'm there. And by the way, talking about the produce market, the food, can you just give us a breakdown exactly what the people pick up sometimes?
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, don't be bashful.
Tomatoes, bananas, kumquats. Sometimes we get some very unusual things. Cucumbers, celery, grapes.
Yep.
Lots and lots of bananas.
Oranges.
Apples. I would say more, and breads, lots and lots of
Oh,
breads.
yeah, and cake.
And
Yes.
pastries,
Yep.
yes, pastry. But you know what? I want to give kudos to Stop and Shop and Costco and Trader Joe's. They're stores that contribute to our program. And we have volunteers that go to those stores and pick things up on a regular basis.
I have to tell you one thing I noticed. Some of the cake that I picked up, you know, people say, well, it's outdated. When I looked at the dates, they weren't outdated. Some of them were still good for 2-3 weeks. So it's just that they want to clean their shelves, I guess, and bring in new produce.
Right, they keep it circulating.
Right.
Yes, that's right.
I would say that on an average, a person could go home with $50 to $75 worth of food. Because some of the cakes are $15 and $20 just for one of the cakes.
Yes,
Yep.
that's right.
So, yes, that's very possible.
I saw that I liked there. There was one that said happy birthday. I don't remember the name, but I guess the guy never showed up for his birthday cake. But I was going to take it, but someone was ahead of me. And he grabbed it, which I don't blame him.
No.
Yes.
Now, Edna, I want to get back to you for a minute.
Okay,
You come from the Philippines, correct?
correct.
You speak perfect English, better than I do sometimes, really. That was my worst subject in school, was English,
She
really.
speaks about 4 or 5 languages.
You do?
I
Yes,
do.
she
Can you tell us
does.
what they are, roughly? Approximately.
Italian,
That's,
Spanish,
yep.
Japanese,
Japanese?
Keep
going.
and
Philippines.
Philippines
Yep.
and Hawaii.
Hawaii?
I
worked in Hawaii, in Honolulu, there too.
Oh,
Yep.
okay. That's very nice to hear.
The only store they had when I was there, believe it or not, I don't know what it is now, but this is back about 30 years, 40 years, was Sears Roebuck. There was a Sears Roebuck big shopping store there, and that was the only one that was there at the time. When I look at the pictures from Hawaii today, all the new hotels they build there up near Diamond Head, up around the Waikiki Beach there. Yep.
Yes, that's
They
really
did have
true.
the Polynesian Village, which I like. We used to go there and watch them. I don't know how they shake and dance like that, but they do.
They
hula
do.
dance.
Yes, the hula dance, yeah.
So how long have you been in this country, Edna?
Oh, I've been here for 11 years.
Thank you for coming.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
It's a pleasure. Back to you, Pastor Liz. Tell us how you first got to study to be a pastor. What made you get interested to become in the religious?
Well, I went to college to become a school teacher. When I graduated from college, I taught school in Iowa. Then I came out to the East Coast because I became engaged to be married, and that engagement broke off, and I just stayed out here and began. There were so many teachers at that time that I had to look for something else to do, so I began working at a large church in Malden. And after about 6 years of working there, I realized as an administrative assistant, I was on the wrong side of the desk. I wanted to be out doing what the pastor was doing, and being with people during times of grief and sorrow and happiness and all of those events in one's life. And so I started seminary at Andover Newton in Newton Center here in Massachusetts. And when I graduated from there, I was called to start a new church in New Jersey. So I went to New Jersey and was a church planter. And I did that for 3 years until it just became exhausting. It was just an exhausting job. And so I was called to a church out in Illinois. And while I was out there, I began doing my doctor program at Northern Seminary in Lombard, Illinois. And after 5 years, graduated from there, and then began pastoring again in Illinois and was called out here to Revere about 10 years ago. So I've been here ever since.
It's a pleasure to have you, even though it's only not too long that I met you, but it's great to have you in Revere here.
Well, we've met before, Morris. I've heard you many, many times with your little discs and CDs, playing music and entertaining folks. It's been You're very, very fine.
It's funny because before I came here today, I didn't even think about it except I knew I had you on this afternoon. And I was playing at the senior center, and there's an Irish singer, I don't know if you ever heard of him, Danny O'Donnell.
Oh, I love him.
Well, it's funny you mentioned him because I was playing A Closer Walk with Thee,
Oh, he is so
Amazing Grace,
wonderful.
How Great They Are, Whispering Hope, all those nice religious songs, and the people love him. And I don't know what made me play it, but I guess it was because I was going to meet you, but I never thought of it that way. I just put it on, and there it went.
Don't you love when you watch his concerts, the way he just kind of moves across
yeah.
the stage
Yes.
as he sings? And
He
It's
has
really
a beautiful
very-
lady that sings, it was a Mary Duff, I believe, the one that accompanies him. And he's a real showman. I mean, when
is.
he's not one of these wild singers, ballads, but he gets the people moving in there. And, you know, he always gets their hands clapping and their people moving. I wish that would happen in our senior center, too, but sometimes it does. By the way, Reverend, maybe someday it'll be nice for you to come down to our senior center and let the people know that you're around. A lot of you don't even know. We had Nick Granitzis. We'd love to have you.
thank you.
So you give our senior center a call, Steve Fielding. By the way, every senior that's over 60 should come down to us.
That's
every
right.
senior.
That's right.
So you got a long way to go. I assume you're not there yet, but when you, but you can come. But you're welcome anytime, and so are you.
Thank you very much.
Morris, we've been down there several years ago. We had a program at Christmas.
At the senior center?
Well, it wasn't at the senior center, but I used to go to Curves before it closed here on Squire Road.
Oh, okay.
And the women there were just so excited when I approached them about a Christmas project to bring in toys and all sorts of things for children and families.
That is something people can still do today, too? Drop off toys at your Baptist church?
Sure, sure. We haven't had it for a couple years because we haven't had an organization like Curves that got involved in collecting the things. So that's what we need, is someone that would like to volunteer to promote the program.
There you go. If anyone is out there, let them know to contact you to do the toy program.
Yep, we just do that at Christmas, and this year it was.
You don't have to be too old to get a toy. Would I be too old to pick up a toy, maybe?
Oh, you wouldn't even be old enough, Morris.
Okay, thank you. I love that.
But it was upsetting this year because several families called, and I just had to tell them that we didn't have that program available this year. But it would have been nice for them if we had.
You know, I come from a family of 7, 6 brothers and 1 sister.
Oh my!
I remember when my mother would buy a toy, and I was the oldest, so she would buy something for me, but I would have to pass it down to the others. Every time she bought another toy for me, so the first toy went to the next one. Then when I got that, he passed that on to her. And, you know, it was, when I think of it, in those days, we could live with it, but today it would be very sad because the kids think they are left out.
Uh-huh. Yeah, some kids think of that.
Okay, now I'm going to get back to you, Edna.
Yes.
I love talking to both of you because, you know, before I start with you, Edna, can I ask?
Oh, go ahead.
Reverend, could you explain to me something about the Christian religion? Because you have the Catholics, Protestants, Baptists. Is there a big difference between them, or they're all the same but just different names?
They're basically the same. We do not baptize infants. We dedicate our infants to the whole congregation, whereas in other religions they will baptize infants, which is fine. But we dedicate them in front of the entire congregation, involving the congregation in the rearing of that child to grow in a spiritual way. I think, but it's just dogma and different things that we do that are different. But basically, there's one God, and we.
Oh yes, that way. You know, someone explained that to me. Just what you said, Reverend. Religion is a way of life. That's what it is. It's a way of life. So if you practice the Catholic way or the Protestant way or the Baptist way, the Hebrew way or the Muslim way, it's all still one God.
And we're in the kingdom of God.
Right, and it's just a different approach that we take to get there.
Exactly.
Right. But you know, I was reading a book on history, and it's sad, and I have to admit that that more people have been killed because of religion
Oh,
than
that's
in all
true,
the wars
Morris.
combined. And I got that out of the Encyclopedia Britannica.
Mm-hmm.
So it's foolish.
Starting with the Crusades, way back when.
Go back before that
Oh
even.
my! Oh, before that,
Yeah.
yes.
The Hebrews, the ones before them, Nebuchadnezzar and his group, there was always wars there over religion. Even today, if you look at the countries in the Middle East, Sunni against Shiites.
Yes, that's right.
Yeah, it's
So
sad.
it's really religion, the war, you know.
Yes, and it was also written in the Bible, even before before Jesus Christ. On the first, when Moses, they still have wars.
I learned something yesterday from a man that was on here, Reverend. His name is Tom Hill, lives in Revere, great historian.
Oh.
He told me that the Philippines is the most populated country in Asia.
That's right. That's really true.
It is, because I always thought it was Indonesia, but it's not. You have over 90 million people.
That's
Indonesia
right.
has about 80 million plus, so I learned something from here. And the Philippines is predominantly a Christian Catholic country. Am I correct on that?
Yes, that's right.
But are there other religions there too beside Catholicism?
Yeah, we have also different kinds of religion, born again, Christians, but most probably some of them really, they're all Roman Catholics.
You know, you mentioned to me about speaking Japanese. And you weren't even born then, and I don't think you were either, Reverend. But going back into the 41, 42, 43, the Bataan Death March that they had in the Philippines when the Japanese occupied it.
Yes,
Yeah, that's what I remember about the Philippines there.
Yes, because Philippines was under Japanese during
The
World
Second
War
World
II.
War,
Yes, that's right.
And you also get a lot of typhoons and tsunamis over there too.
Yes,
In the Philippines?
a lot. Yes, because they have only two kinds of weather.
Oh, give us a little history on that.
Yeah, we have only two different weather. We have summer and rainy season. That's all we have.
Oh, do you ever get snow there like we do up here?
No, I wish.
No snow at all?
No, not at all. It's really very hot place, and it's
You know, it
very,
almost
very-
reminds me of our state down south, Florida. Where they have the rainy weather and the summer
summer
where
weather.
it's warm.
Yes,
Yep.
that's right. And we're like Florida.
By the way, Reverend, do you have a family?
Yes, I have two daughters. One daughter lives in Wellfleet.
Tell us their names and what they do. We'd love to hear about them.
Adrian is a nurse. She does home nursing care for people on the Cape. And my daughter Dawn lives with me with two of her sons. And she's a waitress. And she's been doing that for 30 years, and she loves it.
And both of them?
No, just Dawn is the
Oh.
waitress. Adrian is the nurse.
My daughter is a nurse. And how about you, Edna? You got a family?
I'm alone here in America.
No, you're not alone here. You're with a lot of good people here
Oh
in
yes,
America.
I'm with Pastor Liz. I have family.
Pastor, I have to tell you, we started a program not too long ago, and I think it's very good. We had some veterans on here from the Second World War who have never seen friends that they knew while they were in the Second World War. And I said to them, if you know someone who was with you, your friend or your buddy, and you know where he lived, say it on the air. Say you'd like to contact them. For example, said you worked in Idaho, you went to school out there. You might have some friends that you know who you haven't seen since you left Idaho. Are there any you would like to make contact with beside them?
Oh, not in Idaho. I grew up in Iowa and Minnesota.
Do you have any friends there you haven't seen in years?
I do, but I keep in touch with the ones that were important to me as friends.
Tell us their names and tell them they can watch you on YouTube, Facebook.
I don't know if they would pick that up out in Iowa.
Oh, yes, they do. Facebook, YouTube, this goes all over the country and the world.
It does.
Yes, just give us one name then.
Violet Decker.
Yes. And how do you know Miss Decker?
Oh, we were best friends in high school.
Right?
That's probably not her last name now. I'm sure she's married with a different last name, but it would be really fun to contact her and look her up. That would
Right.
be
Do you know
one
what town she came from?
person. Lamont,
So, Miss Decker from
Iowa. Although she's probably moved away from there.
Right, but someone might notice it and tell her to notify you.
That could be.
Edna,
Yes.
do you have your parents here or are they in the Philippines?
Oh, parents. Speaking of parents, I'm sorry they all passed away.
Do you have any friends in the Philippines that you would like to make in contact with if you could?
Yes.
Mention their name and let us know what they are.
Yeah.
Maybe they watch the show, they'll contact you.
I know. I wish my sister is watching right now.
Yeah?
My sister in the Philippines.
What's your
Hi.
sister's name?
Elizabeth.
Right.
Elizabeth Diaz.
Right.
She also has a sister in Italy, Baby Diaz. I
Yeah.
would love to see Baby.
That's true. Yes.
Let's have the name too.
Yes. My sister's name was in, living in Italy is Junilda Diaz Yoko.
Right.
Yes.
So, by the way, if you hear these names and you contact these people, reveretv.org, email us to reveretv.org. They make contact with us, and we'll make sure we'll contact you if we get any,
We're
people
glad
out
to.
there. Yep.
We're glad.
So are we.
Yes.
And I have to tell you, it's worked because we've had 2 people come on the show. I happen to be one of them. There was a woman that came up here, Sherry Raftery.
Oh.
I hadn't seen her in 41 years. 41 years. She used to
Wow.
play with my son.
Mm-hmm.
We started talking, and we came across names that were similar to my son with her. And then she looked at me and she says, Morris, don't you know who I am? And I says, no. I used to come over your house and play with Barry all the time when I was 5, 6, 7. I said, oh, my God.
Wow.
So we met on the TV show. We had another gentleman that was here yesterday. His name is Len Sandler. He wrote a book about Medal of Honor recipient who got killed. But him and his father went to school. The father of the Medal of Honor hadn't seen each other in 50 years, and they made contact. True, somehow they found each other. When he came on the show, he mentioned that. So I hope these people out there,
Modern technology is really something, isn't
if
it,
it's
Morris?
used properly.
If it's used properly, yes,
Yes,
I agree
that's right.
totally.
Yeah, so that's pretty good.
That's amazing. I didn't realize
It
that
is.
this show went that far reached.
We go all over the world.
Oh,
Wow.
Facebook, YouTube, Twitter. This is, I mean, it may be a local station, but you're on here. You're not on CBS, you're not on NBC or ABC. You're on Revere TV 8, and we're lucky to have you. They don't, but we are.
And we're lucky to be here too.
You're such a charmer, Morris.
No, I'm not. I'm glad you people come on because we are a community. You don't have to be a veteran. People think you got to be a military veteran.
Yeah.
It's nice to have the military veterans. We love them, but we also love the community veterans. And talking about community veterans, we got about 4.5 minutes. We give these to the military, but we're going to give each one of these to you.
Oh, thank
These
you.
are donated to us by Stop and Shop, Revere TV, the Revere Veterans
Yes.
Service under the direction of Nick Brewer, and even our senior center donated some of the flags. So on behalf of all those organizations and the people of Revere, Reverend, thank you for coming on. Edna, so that's for you. And
Yes.
this is
Thank
for
you.
Reverend.
Thank you.
You know, Morris, the Wounded Warrior program is one of a program that I just think is so incredible.
It is. It is.
Just so marvelous.
The only thing sometimes I have to admit, I get a little peeved, is like I donate, like I put away so much money for the year to donate to the wounded veterans, the American Legion, the VFW. But the trouble is, I do it once a year, and that's all I can afford. We're on fixed income seniors.
Right.
But some of them keep sending you things
I
over
know.
and over
I
and
know.
over again.
I know.
And
Once
I
you-
have to be honest with you. Sometimes I will make the donation like 10 or 15, but I will write it on, please, once a year, and thank you for your service. And I do that in there.
Good
It's
way
not
to
that
do
I
it.
don't want to. If I could afford it, believe you me, I'd give them a lot more. But people don't realize that the seniors are on a fixed income.
Right.
Oh.
Okay?
Yeah.
And a lot of seniors don't have 2 incomes, like a pension or something else. I
Right.
just have one.
Right.
Social Security, that's it.
That's it. Wow.
So, it's hard for some people. But we do give, come around with the plate with her. Now, we do a thing at the Senior Center, Flags for Bourne National Cemetery, where they have down Memorial Day and Veterans Day. We collect money. We go down there. We put flags on the deceased graves of the deceased soldiers. Excuse me. Then we go down the following week to take them off. And there's a person right here in the city of Revere. He owns a funeral home. Maybe you know him, Paul Bonfiglio.
Oh, yes.
Well, Paul does a lot for the veterans. He put up a big flag post in front of his funeral home on Revere Street. That flag donated to the veterans on there. He had Mr. Monty, the man I was telling you about who wrote the book, Len Sandler, about his Medal of Honor son who got killed in Afghanistan. He put it up that. So he does tremendous amount for the people. And he's not a community veteran, a real community veteran. His son Paul is going into the service soon. Good luck, Paul. So it's nice to have him. We got 2 minutes left. Just wrap it up real quick and give me 1 minute left. Go ahead, Reverend. Just say what you wish.
We are doing this Fair Foods program to be of a service to our community. We'd like to see as many people who might value from the food to come and to be a part of the program. And if you care to volunteer, and we need
Give him
volunteers.
that phone number just one more time.
617-378-5071.
Right. Go ahead, Edna. Just wrap
Yes,
it.
I just want to let them know that our Fair Foods is January 24th, and then the second will be February 14 and 28, March 14 and 28, April 11 and 25, May 9 and 23, and June 13 and 27.
Right. Always the second or fourth Saturday of the
Yes.
month. So the dates, whether it's June, July, August, it's always the second or fourth.
Yes, it is always, yes.
Okay. So I want to take time out to say God bless both of you. So it should be the other way, but I'll say it
God bless
myself.
you, Morris.
Thank
God
you.
bless you, Morris.
Thank you. God bless both of you. God bless our
Thank
troops
you.
who are
Yes.
in the service.
Thank you for
God
this
bless.
opportunity.
The people
Yes.
of Revere and our great country, the United States of America. And ladies, I got to say, it's an honor and a privilege to have had you come on here.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Thank you very much.